plan for today is we're going to follow this Bluff link track around. We should get a couple of views before it clouds out. A couple of huts around there we'll have a look at. Lavic Bluff Hut. Anyway, let's go. We had woken early this morning in order to catch the rising sun from the summit of King Billy. Since we couldn't be in two places at the same time, we programmed a camera that would also capture the scene from camp for us to review later on. This was like an insurance policy, just in case the summit was clouded in and we would miss the whole occasion. Fortunately, the view from the summit was mesmerising. Our prior preparation to prevent this poor performance paid off. Perfect. From the summit, the obligatory selfie and panorama shot to be sent straight to the pool room were taken. It's moments like this we cherish, to be able to share the occasion as a family without the crowds, which no doubt we would encounter soon enough once we dropped off the mount. It was, after all, a long weekend and school holidays. With the sun now high enough to warm the orographic surface, the rising anabatic winds were kicking in. This made for a spectacular scene as the low-lying cloud was starting to rise and filter through the mountain passes. It also marked time to descend off the mount. Adventure awaits, and we must play our part in this story. This is the King Billy tree behind me. It's considered the biggest snow gum going around, and I think it's based on its girth, its stump height or at ground height. The King Billy tree, it's just off the side of the track. There's a little car park down there. It's not signed or anything. Looks like it's having a bit of a new lease on life, lots of regrowth. It's looking pretty good actually. I wonder if it's putting all this new growth up because it's stressed or because it's actually healthy and getting a new lease on life. It has been a really good season, lots of moisture, continuous moisture through summer. You hope it's not shooting off all this stuff because it's actually stressed and it's on its last legs, bit of a last breath. It's certainly endured some weather. I reckon this old tree, where it sits here, it'd cop a caning, wouldn't it? You camp in there if you wanted to. Yeah. Mount Magdala, to the right, Mount Howqua in the back next, coming around to the left, you got the crosscut saw, keep coming around to the left, Mount Buggery, and then right on the back, Mount Speculation. Further around you got Mount Kunika and then Mount Cobbler, right on the dividing range. On this side we've got the watershed of the Murray River. Anything that flows down that way is going in the Murray and out to South Australia, and anything that's going over that way, the divide, is going out to the Gippsland Lakes. It's starting to get a little bit hazy. It's not the sharpest outlook today, but we get the idea. We've just pulled up at Lavic Hut. It's a great spot here in a saddle, lush, green, some great campsites. No doubt it gets pretty popular too. Wouldn't be on your own more often than not, I think. It's got that feel about it. Not quite sure how the water situation works. But yeah, I rate this one. Pick your times, I suspect, when you come here. Or be very social. Look at that. That's solid construction. That's 2 inches thick of solid timber. So they've slabbed up a tree and put two slabs to make the door. Not going anywhere. A lot of weight on it. Well, fairly solidly built. Substantial construction. Big RSJs there, huge fireplace. Hook up a few feeds in there over the years, I suspect. Yeah, I think it's been rebuilt a few times, been burnt down. Certainly different configuration to what it was last time I was here. I'm going to say it's a bit smaller actually. It's been a long time since I was here. There's quite an aroma of smoke, sort of ingressed into all the structure, into the wood. It holds the scent. I reckon it should get a bit smoky, a bit sooty in here. See, there's a bit of ventilation cut in above the chimney there to try and create a draft, I suspect, and vent that smoke out. Great construction, pole construction. Looks like it's using all natural materials. I suspect they're being brought up from down below. And clad in corrugated iron. What a great spot. This is a good hut. Stone floor, some big stones in there to pave the floor. A lot of work gone into putting them in. Jeez, some of them weigh a ton of more. There have actually been numerous huts constructed on this site over the years. The Lavic family first built a hut here in 1960. However, the family had already endured a long association with the area, having first taken up grazing in the high country in the early 1900s. The first hut built on this site, before the Lavic era, was built by James Barclay, of Wanagata infamy. Lavic figured that given Barclay was a seasoned and well-respected mountain man, there would be sound reasoning this was a good and proper spot to build a hut that could endure the elements. The remnants of Barclay's hut were still visible when the Lavics commenced construction of their original hut in 1960. Unfortunately, by 2003, Lavic's hut had succumbed to the elements, and what remained was removed. In 2006, the Great Divide fires swept through the area. Numerous huts succumbed to the inferno. Construction on a new Lavic's hut had already commenced prior to this fire and consisted of numerous upright poles footed to the ground. This early stage of construction was subsequently burnt. Reconstruction of a new hut was delayed, but in 2012 the Lavic family, enthusiastically supported by many friends, completed the rebuild, albeit with some design changes to better tolerate the local conditions. The Lavic family legacy lives on in the form of an enduring shelter for those of us that pass through. Despite needing to be mindful of the overhead clearance, the truck, like its occupants, is right at home in this environment, as though it was made for it. It just meanders along, taking the obstacles in its stride. Due to its bulk and weight, it's possibly a bit less agile, but has enough flexibility and capability to overcome the challenges. A bit like its occupants, really. Drive across here from Lavic's hut towards Bluff Hut. Jump on a main spur line linking the two huts. A bit undulating, and for all intents and purposes it's a good track. A bit slower in the truck. You just got to meander, wander gently, slowly. But the good thing about that is you get a chance to take in the view, and every corner has got a different view. And it's just opens out in front of you. You come around the corner, bang, there's another one. Turn the corner, bang, there's another one. But spectacular drive. I'm going to put it up there as one of the better drives, or one of the best drives for views anyway, in the high country. Oh, she's getting a bit rough. Yeah. Go up a little bit. I think it's fair to say that one of the reasons for coming to the high country is the views. When you find spots like this, it's probably the epitome of high country touring and outlooks. So we're on top of Mount Lavic. Well, the summit's just a few metres this way. The road comes pretty close to going over the summit, and you've got views all the way around. It's just brilliant. We're fortunate today, the clouds holding off. It was a bit threatening earlier, but it's holding off at the moment to afford us these views. That's Mount Lavic just behind me there. Oh, it's awesome. Views out to Mount Buller there, Mount Sterling over the back there. This is looking back south, back towards the headwaters of the McAllister River. And out the back here you got Mount Clear, which is actually the divide running across there and goes over Mount Clear. Australian Alps walking track heading that way. Fantastic. In 1909, Jim Bullock and Jim Barclay, there's that name again, of Wanagata murder fame, along with 15-year-old Jack Ware from Howqua Hills, began grazing cattle on the Bluff, Mount Clear and King Billy runs. In 1943, Eatley Stoney joined the grazing licence with Jack Ware and drove 300 head of cattle from his property at Darlingford to Merrijig along the Howqua River, following the narrow and dangerous bridle track to the Bluff. During the summer of 1956, Eatley Stoney, Jack Ware and fellow local cattlemen Ray Kelly and Archie Cameron began building Bluff Hut. Jack shaped the local snowgum timber with an adze and broad axe. Eadley's son Graham and his mate Ron Davidson then used a string of pack horses to carry iron and building materials up to the hut from Bindaree. Like an old stable door. It puts a bit of air in, keeps the stock out, keeps the dogs out. Lightning started the Great Divide fires in December 2006. In January 2007, an intense fire swept up the Howqua Valley and through the Bluff Saddle, destroying Bluff Hut. Building began in November 2007, led by the Stoney family, with strong support from local community, High Country Huts Association and Parks Victoria. The hut was completed in time for the winter of 2008. How's this for a fireplace? Have your fire there and almost sitting in the fire. Quite deliberate. Oh, cool. Radiating off those stone, the rocks there. This would be a good spot, providing it wasn't too smoky. A lot of work gone into this. I actually camped here years ago, skiing through here, and pulled in here for the night. Those days it was actually a lot bigger, the hut. There was like another wing out the back here, split level. So it burnt down in 07, I think. The fire's in 06, 07. It's been rebuilt since. It's good that it's been rebuilt in similar character, similar style, taking some of the design ideas from the previous hut, and this fireplace was one of them. I wonder if the stonework's actually the original. Possibly is. This is awesome. Big old yellow box. Wow. Solid. The construction of this is incredible. Tons and tons and tons of wood gone into vertical posts, if you like. So it's got the main uprights at regular intervals, and then the infill appears to be split timbers, some sort of weatherproofing behind it, and then tin on the outside. A lot of work gone into it. We left Bluff Hut after having a bite to eat, made our way along that Bluff link track. We've turned off onto Refrigerator Gap track. Pretty sure it's going to descend back down to Brock's Road, but we're aiming for Upper Jameson Hut. Trying to minimise the backtracking a little bit, although the little bit of road we've just done, we'll have to pick that up again in the next couple of days. It doesn't seem to get a lot of maintenance out this part of the world these days. It's probably only a little bit of tourist traffic and there's no industry anymore, so the roads, which were once pretty major roads, really reverting back to tracks. Something to consider when it talks about roads and tracks on the maps. What was once a road might no longer be such. Up at Jameson Hut. It's a bloody lovely spot down on the Jameson River. Pretty popular with the fishers by the looks of things. I suspect the clientele of this site's a bit different to some of the ones we've come across higher up. Just going by the type of rubbish and the amount of rubbish. But look, it gets a bit of maintenance obviously. It's recently had the grass cut. No one else here, so it's as good a spot as any. A couple of nice spots in the river. March flies are in abundance. Getting carted away by the buggers. Haven't been here before, so a bit of new country, as was coming down there off Refrigerator Gap track. Hadn't been through there before, so all new country, and it's good to get out and poke around. It's something new to us, and no doubt gets a flogging by others. Upper Jameson Hut was built by Fred Fry in the 1930s, possibly around 1938 to 40. Fred worked for the Forest Commission and built numerous huts throughout the area to enable him to go about his duties. Fred was renowned as an excellent bushman and craftsman, and built the huts using his own recognisable style of hand-split timber and drop slab construction. Fred would roll the heavy roof poles into place over the centre ridge using his horse and a long chain. Having become very run down by the early 2000s, an extensive repair was undertaken by Department of Environment Primary Industry contractors and volunteers of the Victorian High Country Huts Association. This work was undertaken about 2008. Current. Great to just be able to just jump in, walk down here, don't even think about it. It's actually quite nice in, Mum. It's not something that I do particularly easily, is get into these swimming holes in the rivers. It's certainly something I'd like to be able to do easier. The irony is that it's all in the mind, because once you're in, there's actually no issue. Well, in this instance anyway. It's about 26 degrees, so it's not an overly hot day, but when you've been bouncing around the dusty tracks, it feels a lot hotter than it is, I think. But there's a fair current here, and in fact I couldn't swim upstream against it was that strong. I'm not a particularly strong swimmer, I suppose. The Howqua River. So we're camped down here on 7 Mile Flat. It was pretty quiet. I think there's people just turned up. We're probably hogging their swimming hole now, but anyway, that's all right. We'll be out of here shortly. There's a number of campsites along here that we've just picked one, had a bit of shade, which was important when we turned up. It's getting on a bit. It's about 4:30, so we think about getting a fire going and putting a billy on, I think. Won't need a bath for another week now. Well, we've just done something a bit unusual. Gone for a swim in a mountain creek. Only took me an hour and a half to get in, record time. We're fortunate we got here pretty early, a bit earlier, and there was no one else around, so we were able to just go and have a swim in a hole that sort of adjoins one of the other campsites. Bit of shade and the bit of grass was the premium requirement from our point of view. There happened to be a swimming hole. We figure that we spend more time in the campsite than we do in the river, so that's us. Other people might do it differently. We're going to light the fire and put the billy on and kick back for a while. I still hit the ground, too good, it's a bit powerful. Is that on? Right, got it. used the Helinox Sunset chairs. They're bloody good, comfy, easy, lightweight, durable, expensive, but I think the cost is worth it because we certainly haven't had a single issue with them at all, and they've done plenty of seat hours. Mum's got an insulated liner that goes in it, just keeps things a little bit warmer, particularly the butt. They do have a mesh back and sides, which is great when it's warm, good for the airflow. In the cooler weather, yeah, you can get a bit of a draft, good bit of gear. They provide the perfect platform for Mum to plant her derriere and nut out the solution to today's puzzle. Morning. It's a bit of a late start this morning. We had a ripper thunderstorm rattling around our ears a bit earlier, and we were confined to barracks for a while. Still in the area, pretty dark out the back here. Still getting a little bit of rain, although it's eased off a bit. We didn't get a lot of rain, but it was enough. We've got a wet arse if we're out and about. It's still in the area, still poking around, still rumbling. Not real sure what it's going to mean to our plans. Anyway, we'll get the belly on, start getting a bit of breakfast into us and see what it looks like from there. It really freshens up the bush, and it's vibrant. The light is awesome. Dark as Hades out the back here, but the light's coming in from the east, sort of underneath it. And real moody. It's awesome. Well, just decided to set in, I think. Still a bit of thunder rattling around. As a result, we've gone for the ultralight setup here. Boil the billy this morning. Keeps it under the cover of the door. It's actually boiling now, so we'll get into it, but just got to compromise sometimes, I think. Got this misty rain just hanging down through the trees and the sun coming in through it. Just looks absolutely fantastic. It's certainly not cold, it's very warm, in fact it's quite humid. And out the back here it's quite dark, so the storm feels like it's come through. It certainly makes for a fantastic setting once it's all passed through and it's done its thing. Anyway, we're just going to have a quick breakfast this morning and pack down and hit the road, I think. Bit of a late start this morning. Just this drizzling rain after the thunderstorm this morning sort of lingered, so we just sort of taking shelter, slowly chipping away at the pack up. Anyway, the plan for today is, I'm not quite sure what the plan is, but to start with we're going to poke down this Howqua track, Rocks Road, still along the Howqua. It's just down below me, way down below me. We camped at 7 Mile Flat last night. We're going to head back towards downstream towards Sheepyard Flat, Fry's Hut. A few things to have a look at on the way by the looks of things. The diversion tunnel, we'll have a poke around and see if we can Exactly where we're going to end up tonight is a bit of an unknown quantity. But, we'll watch the weather as well. We were planning on heading back up high, camping up high. Just see what comes of this weather. It's certainly blue sky up high. It might be just a bit unsettled. Occasional storm rolling through. Anyway, we'll know when we get there. Steep little track. What have you found here, lad?
The other end of the tunnel. Right here. We saw it at the other end. I can see light. We're going to try and walk through to the light, that is, the other end.
We've just entered the downstream end of the diversion tunnel on the Howqua. Looks like it's probably up to 100 metres long. We can see light at the other end. We did go and have a look at the other end first just to make sure it was accessible and try and work out the lie of the land. Anyway, hopefully our lighting lasts long enough. We'll poke through. Not sure how wet we're going to get though. How cold is it?
Freezing. Almost as cold as the Gee High, I reckon.
Wow, that's cold. Tunnel in the roof, heading way up in the middle of the road. Wouldn't drive along that road with this big hole under it. Interesting, it's all this conglomerate, all been laid down over years and years and years. It's sort of composite of river rock cemented, which has made the formation. There's smaller gravels in the up here, for instance, bands of smaller gravels, bigger gravels down low. And the old timers have come and carved their way through it. All in the name of gold fever. Here's some of the original bedrock here. And the conglomerates have been cemented over top of that. So there's a big bend in the river, on the Howqua River, and they've put this tunnel in where it narrows, where the two parts of the river come close together around this big bend. They've put a tunnel through. The theory was that would divert the water and leave the big bend in the river dry, and then they'd be able to do their, I suspect it was alluvial, panning, mining. So in the big abandoned river, they would then sluice, pan, extract the gold. There's a number of these occurrences around the state. It's not uncommon. I know of 3, 4, 5, maybe, where they've done this type of thing. So it was amazing what the old timers could do when it come to chasing that gold. You know, we'd struggle to do some of these sorts of things these days. Just inclination, enthusiasm, ability, knowledge. It's incredible what the old timers, our pioneers, were able to do, were inclined to do, needed to do. All in the name of eking out a living. Yeah, would have been tough, you know. This would have been your day down in this hole, possibly with the threat of thunderstorms and the river flooding. You wouldn't have known, really. For the most part, we've been able to walk upright through it. You know, we're 6 foot tall, myself and the lad. We've been able to walk through it, but this last bit here, it's quite low. Having to stoop over, you stand up and sort of show me. So the lad can't quite stand up, he's hunched over, you've got to watch your scone. But I'm wondering if it's actually infilled, whether it was the same height all the way through once upon a time. This is the inlet end, whether it's just redeposited all these river gravels, and floods and whatever, I'm not sure. Or they started off short, they thought, bugger this, that's enough of this crouching. Or they started at the other end, all enthusiastic and bold and upright. By the time they toiled their way through the tunnel and got to this end, they were worn out, shagged, exhausted, just wanted to get through, and the tunnel got smaller and smaller, not sure. Either way, it changes. Keep going. Oh, there's the entrance, exit.
The end.
There's Mum waiting for us. Oh, it's hot out here.
It is hot out here.
How cool is that? Good little explore. I just want to make it quite clear that I don't show it on this channel, but I've had a lot of experience in cave exploration. I've done most of my life cave exploration, and we don't duck through tunnels like this or caves like this. Not that this is a cave. We don't take that activity lightly. So we did a lot of planning, preparation. Even a little thing like this, a lot of thought went into it. So I encourage anybody that's going to do anything like this to make it considered, make yourself informed. I'm certainly not suggesting let's all go gung-ho and start blazing on through holes and caves and mines and things in the ground. So just heads up. So probably the main thing we did, the two main things we did before we went through, the three main things we did, the fourth main thing, five main things. Five main things we did. Firstly, I told someone where we were going. Mum knew where we were, she was expecting us, she was waiting. We had a bit of a rendezvous time. So first and foremost, someone knew where we were going and what time to look out for us. Secondly, we knew what the weather was doing. Okay, we'd done some research, we'd made sure that there was going to be no surge of water coming through the cave, so we knew what the weather was doing. Thirdly, we had reliable sources of light. Both of us, the lad and myself, had reliable sources of light. Secondly, we had a backup source of light. In this case, we had the floodlight on the camera, so we had a backup source of light which we were conserving, and we were able to monitor the battery usage. And thirdly, I had a third source of light. I also had, albeit probably a bit subjective, but I had my phone which has got the torch on it. The phone's fully charged. So three sources of light. You're going to go into these types of places, but let someone know where you're going in the first place. That's the most important one.
There's something about your eyes, something telling me
pulled up at Fry's Flat. Fry's Hut just across the way here. It's pretty big area, but the hordes are rolling in, just leading up to a long weekend, so everyone will be out in their droves. We've got to sort of think about what our plans are to make sure we're not where the droves are. Not sure if that's going to be possible, or we just have to go with the flow. I think we're going to finish poking along the river. We're sort of a bit of a turnaround point now. Fry's Hut is as far down the Howqua as we're going to go. We'll turn around and start heading back up. A couple of little things we want to pick off on our way up the river, and then we'll swing up the hill, head up high. Yeah, I'm not sure where we're going to end up. Anyway, we pulled up half a cup, bought the billy. We didn't get a chance to fill the thermos up this morning just because of the inclement weather, so we just fired up the jet boil. It's handy having that available, doesn't take up any room, secretes away in a corner somewhere there, and occasions like this where you just want a quick roadside cuppa and you haven't filled the thermos. It's almost quicker actually, but yeah, uses a lot more gas of course. You've got to have the canisters, and if we've already got a fire going in the morning and we boil the belly, fill the thermos up, it's just one less energy source you've got to tap into, I suppose. Anyway, I think we're pretty much done here. We've had a look at the hut. Interesting old place. It's feeling a little bit dishevelled, certainly not in its heyday anymore, but look, it's probably keeping most of the moisture out. Getting a bit knocked around, I think. It's getting a bit weathered, but no one shuts the doors in any of these huts these days. Though we've found every hut I think we've come across, the doors wide open. Weather can blow in, animals wander in. Anyway, maybe we should just shut the doors. Just climbed back up out of the Howqua. It's a fair climb over not a very long distance, so lots of zigzags, switchbacks. We've just turned off Brock's Road, or I think it's called 8 Mile Gap intersection. Now we're heading along Bluff Link track. We've got to duck back across the Bluff Hut, see if we can retrieve our bit of equipment we left behind. Then we'll retrace our steps a little way and then drop down, back down to the Howqua. What's the name of that track?
16 mile Jeep track.
So that's the plan. It's cooled down a little bit. It was 30 degrees down below. It's 25 up here. So anyway, we'll get back down to the Howqua is the plan. From there, we're not quite sure. Going by the time of the day, that might be it. Turned off Bluff Link track and we're heading down 16 mile track. Should take us straight down to the river. Just looking at the contours, it's pretty much a direct line, and the track certainly feels that it's a direct line. So it's in pretty good nick. There's been a fair bit of timber across the track, so fortunately low range there. Tread stick forward, it's just low range. If I bring the other stick forward, that's low range. So I'm in low first, I'm not having to brake or anything, just wandering down very slow. I've still got 6 gears to go if I actually put it in low. So this is holding its own in terms of, it's a pretty steep track and it's holding its own. Well, we had a bit of a surprise there, just coming down that section of track. We could see a great big log. It looked like it was right across the track, quite a sizable tree. As it turns out, there was actually a switchback right in front of it.
Now, you've just seen Dad whiz on by. Now I've got to walk all the way down this super steep hill.
Take a look at this tree. This big old gum tree here. These holes are actually created by branches growing through each other. So there's a big branch out here on the left, the main trunk on the right, and there's branches come through from the main trunk, and they've grown through and connected up with the big branch on the left. They're actually joined up, not just once though, multiple times it's happened. And you can see up higher, it's actually starting to do it again. Just come back in 100 years time, if the tree's still standing, I bet you'll find that branch is linked up just like these other couple have down below. There's 3 already and there's a 4th happening. And I reckon if we had a close look, it's actually already joined up at the back there. It's unusual to see one, never alone multiple in the one tree. That's just fantastic. I'm stoked. This big old gum tree. It's just threatening the hut. Poor little Bindaree hut's nestled in underneath it. Oh, you can't help but think that one day the old hut's going to wear that tree, but that's brilliant. That's fantastic. You don't see that sort of stuff. And here it is, right on the intersection. We're probably going to kill the tree, love it to death by bloody driving around the base of it, compact the soils. It's endured this long, I suppose. Rotten, that one. Now should be enough there to cook on. Some of that's pretty pulpy, but we'll get enough out of it for tonight, I think. It's not cold, so we're not looking for a heating fire. Cooking up some snags for dinner. We've got 3 different flavours here. One of them will put hair on your chest. I think it's jalapeno and cheese. Nice little bit of kick, bit of flavour. I think we got some rosemary and thyme, lamb, rosemary and thyme, I think it is. And black pepper and Worcestershire. Mum's just thrown together a bit of gourmet slaw. You can smell it. Not sure we'll get through all this lot tonight, but it's what we don't get through we'll have for lunch tomorrow. Too hot to be getting too fancy on the wood-fired cooker. You just sizzle. I think we're going to park this one up there. It's been a big few days, and we poked down into the Howqua and sort of wove our way through a myriad of tracks and picked off a couple of huts down through there. And that was after we went through Lavic Hut, Bluff Hut, ducked over to the upper Jameson Hut. It was that refrigerator gap track. That was alright. Poked around there. A lot of southern aspect stuff, so it got pretty tight and dark tree ferns, and then down into the Howqua and the myriad of campsites down along there. So coming into a long weekend, so there's no shortage of people around, and those campsites were starting to get encroached upon, so we sort of bailed and headed back up into the hills. Suspect we're going to meet the crowds in the next leg of this trip. We'll worry about that then. Anyway, that's about it. We'll park it up. Got the last of our fire burning down there. Billy on for a final cup for the night. Anyway, if you like what we're doing, give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Share amongst your network. That'll be good for us. Get it out there. Emerging channel, so we appreciate any help we can get. Give us a like, of course. Leave a comment. Most importantly of all, I suppose, look after yourself. I'll see you next time. Catch ya.